and disposed of them in the fern, too. Unfortunately, her sooty hands left streaks on her best dress. Large, wet splotches on it added to the bedraggled effect. The only good thing about her skirts being wet was that they draped lower, hiding her scuffed shoes. To top the whole disaster off, Ruth felt her hairpins slipping. Miss Pettigrew put great stock in a woman tending her crown of glory, and wouldn't understand if Ruth's hair came unbound. She glanced about and assured herself that no one was in sight, hiked up her skirts, wiped her hands as best she could on her petticoats, and dropped the skirts back in place. That done, she shoved her hairpins in yet again, and marched into the dragon's lair. "Miss Caldwell," Miss Pettigrew began, "please shut the door." "Yes, ma'am." As Ruth turned to obey, she couldn't quell a shudder. She'd been through this at other schools. The humiliation of being dismissed ought to be enough to mortify any decent girl. But Ruth felt the crushing guilt of knowing she'd tried her best here and still failed. "I wanted to make Mama proud, and I've botched everything again. She'll welcome me home and act as if nothing went wrong. But she wants me to become a polished woman and marry well. I keep messing up. Would it be so bad for me to stay at home and become a spinster?" "Miss Caldwell." Miss Pettigrew's voice cut through her thoughts. Ruth turned to face her fate. The headmistress wilted artfully into the seat behind her desk. "I've tried to do my best by you." "I'm sure you have," Ruth agreed sincerely. Indeed, she'd been here for almost 6 months, twice as long as she'd lasted anywhere else. "Everyone deserves a chance, and the Bible instructs us to be long-suffering. However, Ruth, dear, I'm afraid I've suffered long enough." Ruth stood in respectful silence. At least that way, she figured, she wouldn't open her mouth and make matters worse. "Pettigrew's Academy for Fine Young Ladies cannot weather the storms you bring. Reputation is all," the headmistress intoned. "Yes, I've tried to impress upon you that reputation is all. Once besmirched, it cannot be recovered. I fear for your reputation, my dear, but even more, I fear for my school and all of the other students. All it takes is for one of you to indulge in hoydenish escapades to make the whole community frown upon the entire institution. Dignity, comportment, grace. A woman must cultivate these qualities. You, on the other hand, entertain wild, headstrong notions and follow your impulses. This can only lead to ruin." Ruth fought the impulse to balance on one leg and scratch her calf with the toe of her boot. Miss Pettigrew was warming to her subject, and Ruth figured the woman had a right to a final tirade. "I forgave you for stealing the cook's best roasting pan, since your intention to save those little robin hatchlings showed compassion." 2 of the 3 survived, Ruth remembered. "Yes, but you brought worms into the room to feed them," Miss Pettigrew shuddered. "And it was only the beginning of inappropriate things you carried through my doors. While I'm thinking of it..." She stood, unlocked a drawer from a cabinet, and withdrew an item. Pinching the suffrage sash between her forefinger and thumb, as if the satin might otherwise soil her, Miss Pettigrew extended it toward Ruth. "Here, take this. I wouldn't have it said I'm a thief." "Thank you." Ruth accepted her sash. Having slipped out of school that day to participate in the march was a transgression enough, but to return wearing the scandalous sash nearly sent Miss Pettigrew into a fit of the vapors. Her reaction would have convinced a stranger that Ruth had stormed into Mr. Buchanan's White House and used the sash to swing from his elegant chandeliers. Miss Pettigrew had promptly confiscated the red satin piece and